When I was 14, my mom told me to step out of the family photo. "You don't match," she said, adjusting her smile for the camera like nothing had happened. So I stood off to the side, blinking back tears, while they captured a moment I wasn't part of. That night, I skipped dinner. Instead, I sat in my room sketching a world where I finally belonged. Years later, that world made headlines, and she wasn't in the picture. My name is Elena Park, and this is the story of how my mother made me feel like I didn't belong, and how I built a life so bright, it left her squinting. I didn't always feel invisible. At first, I was just the quiet kid, polite, responsible, always in the background, never a problem. I got good grades, kept my head down, and learned early how to listen without speaking. For a while, that seemed to work. It kept the peace, it kept me around. Then Carla married Rick. Rick came with 2 kids, Brooke and Jared, both loud, athletic, constantly buzzing for attention. Carla called them a breath of fresh air. And just like that, the walls of our house began to change. The framed sketches I'd hung in the hallway vanished, one by one, replaced by sunlit snapshots of soccer trophies and beach days with the new family. No one mentioned it, not even when I did. Carla loved curating our life online, coordinated outfits, brunches with hashtags, family portraits soaked in fake sunshine. I was always on the edge of the frame, blurry, blinking, or cropped out entirely. Once, I tried to ask, "Do you not want me in the pictures?" I said softly, while she tapped through filters on her phone. She let out a dramatic sigh, like I'd asked for something ridiculous. "Elena, don't be so sensitive." That was her go-to line, "You're too sensitive." As if feeling left out was a character flaw, as if my pain was an inconvenience. After that, I stopped asking questions. Holidays made the silence louder. Rick's kids got shiny bikes and iPads. I got socks, or school supplies. One Christmas, while they unwrapped matching North Face jackets, I opened a notebook, my name spelled wrong on the cover. Carla just smiled. "You like drawing, don't you?" It wasn't the gifts that stung the most, it was the way she made me feel foolish for expecting more, for hoping I mattered. But not everyone ignored me. My grandmother, June, Carla's mom, lived in a small house a few towns over, wind chimes on the porch, the scent of cinnamon always in the air. She called me Lena, said I had my grandfather's hands, strong, steady, made for creating. She never asked me to explain myself, she just saw me. When home got too heavy, I started spending weekends with her. Carla never minded. If anything, she seemed relieved to have one less person messing with her curated feed. At Grandma's, I could breathe. She saw my sketchbooks full of faces, buildings, and designs, and asked if I'd ever considered graphic design. I hadn't even known what that was. She signed me up for a free class at the library, then another, and another. "Don't let anyone shrink your world, Lena," she said one night as we watched black and white movies beneath a shared blanket. "You're bigger than they want you to believe." Carla never asked where I went, or what I was learning. If she noticed my growing skills, she never mentioned them. One day, she tossed me a shopping list and said, "Make yourself useful, grab this while I take Brooke to her modeling audition." She handed me $10. The list was all name-brand items. I told her it wasn't enough. She rolled her eyes. "Then use your own money. You're always at your grandma's, she probably spoils you anyway." That's when it clicked. Carla didn't see me as her daughter. I was just another thing to manage, an accessory that didn't fit her aesthetic. And if I didn't fit, I didn't matter. I journaled more, sketched late into the night, not just an escape plan, an entire future. Grandma June told me to keep every drawing, every scrap of an idea. One day, she said, "You'll show the world everything they overlooked." She was right. But back then, I was still just a girl with a pencil and a quiet ache I didn't know how to name. I didn't want revenge, I just wanted to belong. By high school, I had disappeared entirely, not metaphorically, truly disappeared. Carla had mastered the art of smiling through me. If I brought home straight A's, she nodded like I'd reminded her to take out the trash, but if Brooke made honor roll, Facebook would think she'd cured cancer. Brooke and Jared weren't just Rick's kids, they were Carla's second chance at family. When she married Rick, she changed our last names. Everyone became a Bradford. Except me. I didn't argue. I just stopped trying to be seen. They went on ski trips in the winter, beach weekends in the summer. Every time I asked why I wasn't invited, Carla had a new excuse. "You don't like cold weather, you burn too easily." Eventually, she stopped pretending. It's just easier when it's the four of us. So while they posed for sunset photos on the sand, I packed a bag and went to Grandma June's. You'd never guess she was Carla's mother. She lived in a tiny yellow house with lavender in the air and creaky floors that felt like they had stories of their own. Her hands were always warm, always smelled like soap, and she never once told me to smile. She just handed me a plate of cookies and said, "Let it out." And I would. That old iPad I had? Probably one of Carla's regifted throwaways. I found a $9 stylus in a clearance bin and started sketching. Logos, magazine covers, fake fashion brands, anything that helped me create a world where I mattered, where no one could crop me out. One Saturday, I was designing a fake coffee ad when Grandma came in. She sat beside me, studied it for a moment, and asked, "Have you ever thought about doing this for real?" I shrugged. "It's just something I like." She didn't push, she just said, "Keep everything you make, we'll need it later." From then on, every weekend, I brought my digital sketches to her house. She'd print them, slip them into plastic sleeves, and file them into a big leather binder she called Elena's Book of Brilliance. At first, I laughed. Later, it would mean everything. In junior year, Grandma June enrolled me in a digital design class at the downtown community center. Carla said no, of course, too expensive. This, after she dropped $400 on a limited edition purse for Brooke's birthday. So Grandma paid, quietly. She even arranged a ride so Carla wouldn't find out. I think she always knew I'd need a way out. And then one afternoon, she proved it. I was sitting at her kitchen table, talking about how my counselor said I could apply to art colleges if I had a strong portfolio. I was hopeful, but careful, not ready to believe in something Carla would just laugh at. Design? That's not a real job, Elena. But Grandma didn't laugh. She got up, went to her room, and came back with a sealed envelope. She slid it across the table. "Your grandfather set up a trust for education. I've been adding to it. It's in your name, been waiting for the right time." I just stared. "You're going to college, Elena," she said, like it was already written. And I did. 6 applications, 3 acceptances, 1 full scholarship, to a top visual design program, 3 states away. The acceptance letter came in a thick, glossy envelope. Carla never opened it. I doubt she even noticed it in the mail. I left the day after graduation. No party, no pictures, just me, Grandma, and a thrift store suitcase boarding a bus. College was the first place I ever felt real. My roommate, Tessa, was chaos and color and loud confidence. She loved everything I made, showed my work to a friend at a local boutique. That turned into my first freelance gig, designing their seasonal lookbook. And just like that, everything changed. A local ad agency hired me part-time. A brand consulting firm offered me a summer internship. I worked weekends, stayed up late, and built a resume while Carla posted filtered brunch pics captioned, "Family First." I said nothing. 4 years later, I graduated summa cum laude. CNV, one of the top marketing firms in the country, came calling. Their executive director had seen my student work at a national design conference. "Elena," he wrote, "your eye for storytelling is rare. Let's talk." Carla still thought I worked at a cafe. I quietly moved into a small apartment near the firm and started building a life no one could erase. By 27, I was lead creative strategist. I bought my own apartment, took Grandma June to Paris, paid off her house, got a dog named Pepper who wore boots in the winter. Carla, still posting family selfies with Brooke and Jared, still pretending I didn't exist. Until the day she couldn't. It was a Thursday when the call came. I was in the break room, sipping coffee, when my assistant knocked. Channel 7's morning show confirmed, "You're live next week, Young Visionaries segment." The segment aired that Monday. Soft lights, smiling anchors, and me, talking about design, identity, and how creativity gave me back a voice I'd nearly lost. They even showed my old college sketches, the ones Grandma saved. The response exploded. "Inspiring, brilliant, where has she been hiding?" Carla saw it the same way everyone else did. She was hosting brunch for Jared's new real estate license when my face filled her screen. I wasn't there, but I imagine her fork paused halfway to her mouth. I imagine Brooke blinked. Jared cracked a dumb joke. Because I wasn't invisible anymore. I was everywhere. Billboards, magazines, LinkedIn spotlights. And not once, not in any of it, was Carla in the frame. The girl her mother told to stay out of the picture had just become the face of an entire creative revolution. And that was only the beginning. 3 days after the morning show aired, the message came. Elena, it's your mother. My 50th birthday is next month. We're doing a nice brunch at Belmore Gardens. You probably don't know it. Very exclusive. Be there 11 a.m. sharp. Don't embarrass me. No, how are you? No, I'm proud of you. Just a demand, wrapped in a slight, like always. I almost deleted it. But instead, I laughed. Not out of spite. Just amazement. 13 years of silence. And this? The grand comeback, a brunch invitation, framed like a royal summons. That night, I told Grandma June over tea. She didn't say much, just raised an eyebrow, then asked, "So, what are you bringing her?" I smiled and pulled out a small envelope. Inside was a certificate, an all-inclusive luxury spa retreat in the Swiss Alps. Private chef, mountain view suite, chauffeur. 5 figures, easy. Grandma nearly dropped her teacup. Elena, she doesn't deserve this. Oh, I know, I said, sipping calmly. But I'm not giving it to her. I just want her to see what she gave up. She chuckled. You are your own kind of wicked. On the day of the brunch, I wore a simple black jumpsuit and a gold necklace, no designer logos, no flashy heels, just quiet elegance, the kind people miss until it's already gone. I arrived 5 minutes early. Belmore Gardens was exactly as expected. Faux fancy, watered-down mimosas. Decor that screamed expensive, if you'd never actually been anywhere. The hostess led me to the private garden room. Everyone was already seated. Carla sat at the head of the table, dripping in gold sequins and self-importance. When she saw me, she blinked like I was a ghost. "Oh, you actually came," she said, forcing a smile. "You could have dressed up more for the occasion." I nodded and took a seat at the far end. The brunch unfolded like a low-budget soap opera. Brooke gave Carla a personalized jewelry box. Jared handed over a monogrammed designer tote. Each gift was met with fake tears and exaggerated gratitude. Then it was my turn. I reached into my purse, placed a small, neatly wrapped box in front of her. No fanfare, no speech, just a soft, "Happy birthday." Carla stared at it, eyes narrowing. This better not be one of those minimalist gifts people post about. Honestly, Elena, you show up in basic clothes, take a taxi here, and now this? She didn't even open the box, just shoved it back across the table. You always had a flair for disappointment. The room went silent. Even Brooke looked uncomfortable. I let the silence hang, then calmly added, "That's a certificate for a luxury retreat in Switzerland, the kind of place where people go to disappear from the noise." Carla's face paled. "You're lying." "I was going to give it to you," I said, slipping it back into my purse. "But now I realize, you don't want me, you just want what I can give you, you always have." I stood up, straightened my jacket, and gave her one last look. "You told me to stay out of the picture, so I did. But I didn't disappear, I just got sharper." Then I walked out. No one followed me. The taxi was waiting outside. As we pulled away, I saw Carla rush to the front entrance, phone in hand. She was already dialing. I didn't answer. For the next 2 weeks, the messages poured in. "Let's talk. You overreacted. We're still family. Brooke needs help with branding, maybe you two can collaborate. We're redoing the kitchen, could use a creative eye." Each message more transparent than the last. I blocked her on everything. But she found a way around it, showing up at Grandma June's with fake tears and demands. Grandma calmly told her to leave. "You gave up your daughter years ago, don't act surprised that she doesn't want you now." That night, I sat on Grandma's porch, watching the city lights blink through the trees. Then I pulled out the Swiss retreat certificate and smiled. I changed the name. Grandma blinked. "What?" "It's yours now, you always wanted to see the Alps." She stared at me, mouth open. "Elena, I don't need this." I leaned in and took her hand. "You don't need it, but you deserve it. You saw me when no one else did. You let me draw. You called me brilliant. You saved every page." She started to cry. "That's what mothers do," she whispered. I let her. For the first time in a long time, I felt full. Not in a flashy, Instagrammable way, but in the quiet, grounded way that tells you, you're safe. Carla will keep telling people I'm ungrateful. That I abandoned her. That I owe her something. But I don't. I owe everything to the woman who made room for me when the rest of the world said, "Not now, not you." The family photo might have been perfect without me. But the life I built? It's better because she wasn't in it.